Stands, I'm Mark Goldbridge, and this is your latest Manchester United news on Matchday. We're back and we can't wait, can we? We've seen a very interesting opening Premier League weekend after this international break. It didn't include United though. Today does. Away to Everton, and Erik ten Hag has come out with some very big statements. Some of them quite inflammatory around the Everton points deduction, which I think is a factor I want to talk about a little bit. But he's also spoken about why we've struggled, how he thinks we've turned a corner. We may well be back playing Everton and playing football, but I think Ten Hag thinks we're back anyway. Are we back? We'll listen to his statements. Mason Greenwood's back. What a goal he scored for Getafe yesterday. Could there be a way back to him at Manchester United? The usual reaction on social media last night, bring him back to Manchester United. I get it, I understand it. Some people wanted him back in the summer. Different opinions will upset some, will make others happy. We can talk about that. Big rumour that Kobbie Mainoo will start for Manchester United in the midfield. Remember, Manchester United's midfield is decimated. We'll talk about that and why he should be starting, really. I mean, why are we wrapping him up? You know, he's back. If he's good enough, you put him in the team. Donny van der Beek's been talking. Could he feature in the game today as well? Also a little bit about the deal with the Glazers and Sir Jim, which still may well be coming out this week, I suppose. But I suppose the one thing I would say, and I've said it before about this Sir Jim Radcliffe deal, is when we get it, we need the detail, but you've missed the big opportunity. It should have come out over the last 2 weeks when people could really give a shit. We've got games now, they're big games, and if we start losing, I don't think people are really going to be taking much notice of a deal that's still got the Glazers there. Football's back. That's what's going to take our eyes on everything. And if we're winning, hopefully we're winning, the positivity will be there. And if we're losing, people will be asking questions of the players and the manager. So the game is today, Isaac. Yes, there's a lot to get into, and we intend to fly straight into it now. Other big news as well, might not be big news to you, is quite significant news. Saw it last night. Apparently, Marcus Rashford last night, or the night before, but I think it was last night, was out on a date with his ex-girlfriend, who he broke up with about 5 months ago. Now, 5 months ago would have been roughly end of last season. Some people feel that when Marcus Rashford's in that relationship, Marcus Rashford's on fire. And he's not been in that relationship, has he? And he's not been on fire. I mean, look, and we'll take anything at the moment. Football's a mental game. If this makes Rashford play well, and apparently he's had a haircut as well, back with his girlfriend, had a new haircut, starts scoring today, we'll take it. The world's a weird place, it really is. On the other hand, some people on Twitter did say he started playing crap after the Carabao Cup in February, and he was still with his missus for a couple of months after that. So, you know, if buts and maybes, but maybe Rashford's back as well. Everybody's back this morning, and I feel like we're back as a community, aren't we? Excited, watch along today. I'm actually doing Villa Spurs at 2 o'clock as well, so straight into Man United after that. So loved having the football back yesterday. Love having Man United back, and what a week it is. And Erik ten Hag's been talking about that. Let's go through some of his statements first. Lots and lots to get through. I suppose, actually, just before I talk about Ten Hag, made some interesting comments about the Everton points deduction and injuries and being back. There was this rumour yesterday, back, streets, back, all right, says Manish, I like that. He did have this, there was this leak that came out yesterday. I mean, it shouldn't be coming out more than 24 hours before the game, but there was this leak yesterday that Kobbie Mainoo could start for Manchester United today, and a lot of people were getting very excited about that. Obviously, we know that we've got no Casido. We didn't buy him. We've got no Casemiro. We've got no Mason Mount. We've not got Christian Eriksen. So really, it's Amrabat, McTominay and Bruno, logically, unless you do something surprisingly with a Mabry, a Donny or a Mainoo. So the surprise and shock was that Kobbie Mainoo may start today. I don't see this as a surprise. I mean, I saw the news yesterday. Lots of people getting very excited. I'd be very excited if he starts in the game. But riddle me this. Miley Cyrus started for Newcastle yesterday. He's 17 years of age and got an assist and played really well in a home win against Chelsea. I mean, I think, have we gone the other way with United a little bit? It's almost like you can't play for United now if you're not 21. Of course you can. Of course you can. We've got great traditions of throwing players in when they're ready. I think Mainoo's ready. I think he looked ready in the summer pre-season. He's had an injury. If he's past the injury, Then it's not Miley Cyrus. I just can't remember his first name. His second name's Miley for Newcastle, and it's not Jack. I can't remember what his first name is, so I just call him Miley Cyrus. But the reality is, he played yesterday for Newcastle at 17. Kobbie Mainoo is 18. We've got an injury crisis in the midfield. Marcus Rashford got thrown in many years ago because we had no strikers. It's Lewis Miley. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we have an injury crisis in the midfield. We've got an 18-year-old midfielder who, to me, looks better than some of the midfielders we've got. Why is it a shock or a surprise if we pick him? This happens all over the world in football. 18-year-olds. I mean, Cech Fabregas was playing in an Arsenal side that weren't they invincibles or winning Premier Leagues at 17? Wayne Rooney was playing at 16. Ryan Giggs was playing at 17. Like, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And I just think with Mainoo, I'd much rather put Mainoo in the team today and in play a 6 out of 10 average performance than put Donny van der Beek in there, who's had his chance and has not got a future, and who plays 6 out of 10. I'm not saying if we play Mainoo, he's going to be man of the match, but I will accommodate him playing average in that team and give it a big tick, because at least it's progressive. If he plays today and he does okay, that's his first big game in a Man United shirt in a Premier League game, and we build from that. What I will call out about this is that if he plays today and he doesn't play brilliant, I don't want to hear anything about he's not ready. We, as Man United fans, know better than any other fan in world football that youth players don't tend to come into the team and play well every game. Like, you've got to nurture them. You've got to develop them. I don't really care what sort of performance he puts in today. I just think put him in, because we need a bit of excitement at the moment. We need a bit of a buzz. That team is not exciting. It isn't. It's survival football. We're grinding results against Luton and Fulham. It's not exciting. They're not playing exciting stuff. If you put Mainoo in today, suddenly the fan base is like, this is exciting. It gets you more behind the team. It gets you more excited about the games. I think it's an absolute no-brainer to put Mainoo in today. And I don't think it's a shock, and I don't think it's a surprise, and I think it's progressive, and I think it's the start of something, hopefully, where even when everybody's back, we're saying, I want to see Casemiro, Mainoo, and Bruno as a midfield three. So I think put him in, give him his chance, let's move. I don't think it's anything major. I think let's go for it. Look, as Diprak says, 9 points off the top. Couldn't give a shit how many points we are off the top of the league. I was on TalkSport last night and somebody was saying that maybe Man United and Chelsea can get in a title race. I had to end the call. Some people say it's rude. Some people say it's realistic. It definitely begins with R. We're not in a title race. We're down in 8th. And I think it's time to start, showing a bit. And let's be fair. Amrabat's not had the best of start. Bruno looks tired. McTominay is McTominay. You put Mainoo in there, you get something completely different that could inspire, could excite. Let's do it. I hope he does play. Let's go to some of Erik ten Hag. I mean, look, I'll run a poll on this. Should Mainoo start? Let's do it. Should Mainoo start? Yes or no? Get your answers in. I'll start on Erik ten Hag's comments. So, some really interesting Erik ten Hag comments. We're going to talk about Greenwood as well. What a goal it was yesterday. What does that mean? Also, some interesting comments from Donny van der Beek as well. But let's talk about Erik ten Hag here. Some interesting quotes coming out. Just get your head around it, really. He basically said, when you don't have a left back, when you don't have a right winger, and you have to change the team, the routines are not there 100%. But you have to make sure to have the basics by fighting. Make as much effort as the opponent. That gives you a basis because our players are very good and they have a lot of qualities. This has caused a lot of debate on social media, because when he says you don't have a left back and you don't have a right winger, well, he does have a left back. He's got Regwell on. There's been times when he hasn't had a left back, and I think we have to acknowledge the injuries, but he has had a left back at times as well. And I don't think you can just say, look, Luke Shaw's a massive leader. He's a massive influence, but everybody picks up injuries. As for the right winger thing, I think he could have given us a little bit more clarity there, because we all know that Pellistri is probably our best right winger this season and he won't pick him. He's had his fallout with Sancho, who's another winger. Anthony has been in and out of the team, but not having a right winger, I think what he means is he hasn't got a left-footed right winger. That's what he means, because Pellestri's right-footed, Rashford's right-footed, Sancho was right-footed. So I think he means not having Anthony is a big part of his team. So I don't really have a problem with what Ten Hag's got to say there. You can disagree with having a left footer on the right wing, but I think that's what he means. He also goes on to say that once our mindset is good and we fight, there are always moments where we can do great things because our players are capable of doing it. And I think we've seen in the last few games, that's why we've won 4 of the last 5 games. I mean, look, you haven't won 4 of the last 5 games, have you? We lost to Copenhagen and Man City in the last 5 games. That's 2 losses, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm... Luton, Copenhagen loss, Fulham, Man City loss, Sheffield United, Copenhagen win, Brentford. Must be talking about Premier League games. Brentford, Sheffield United, Man City loss, Fulham, Luton. He's talking about the Premier League. Okay. And look, I don't have a problem with this. You've got to scrap for the positives. He's the manager of this football club. We all know the truth behind those results, but we have won 4 of the last 5 Premier League games, and that's something that he has to, as a manager, inspire with. And he is absolutely correct. When the mindset is good and we fight, there are always moments where we can do great things. But I know what the chat's saying without looking at it. Moments FC. This is what Ollie did. This is Ollie ball, isn't it? It's like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer used to do this. We fight for each other, we keep it tight, and we rely on moments. And I don't have a problem with this. I don't know where some of our fans have been for the last few weeks. This is what we do. We literally have reverted back to the Solskjaer days. I mean, even Lindelof and Maguire are playing again. McTominay's playing again. If Fred was still here, I think Fred would be playing as well. We have become what Solskjaer was, certainly through that COVID era where he did quite well, grinding out games and relying on moments. And I think that's just Ten Hag acknowledging it. He says it. He says it quite clearly. When our mindset is good and we fight, there are always moments where we can do great things. I mean, that's moments football. This is what I mean. It's survival football at the moment. We need to transition. I'm hoping, and I think Ten Hag is hoping, that this is a basis, a foundation to improve from. The last 4 wins we've got out of 5 have been grafting wins, relying on moments. It's not been pretty. If we try and do that for the next few months, we will struggle. This is why I think you do need to bring Mainoo in, because I think we need to progress into a different style of football. Unfortunately, I still think we put out a survival team and scrape half result yet again. Would be a buzz with Mainoo, but really likely, says Daniel. Oh, yeah, Daniel. I mean, I think this game, I'd love United to go and win 3 or 4-0, but I think this game has got scrap written all over it. I think this game's got 1-0 United written all over it. I think it's going to be an absolute scrap. I think it's going to be like Fulham away. I'd have Mainoo, Amrabat and Bruno in the midfield, says Surash. McTominay's 100% starting this game. I'm not even lying. Eric Ten Hag also said, I think the last match showed the personality of the team. You saw the players took responsibility, that they worked for the team, and that's how we got results. Look, I don't like this. Even as an Eric Ten Hag fan, I don't like this. His obsession with talking about spirit and fight and working together, I feel is a failure on him. And I'll tell you why. And I'm a Ten Hag fan. We are now championing passion again. And this is the same thing that happened with Solskjaer. The fact that he's got to publicly champion passion, because that's all we've had in the last month, passion, effort. It's not ability, it's not good football, it's passion. That's what we're championing again, isn't it? And that worries me, because that should come as standard. Now, as a manager of Man United, I get it. Solskjaer did the same. Ten Hag's doing the same. You are championing those players that are playing for you because you're concerned about them not playing for you. And the players that aren't playing for you aren't in the team. This is a guy who's playing survival football, and he's having to big up passion over ability. That worries me, because it should come as standard. I don't think Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp or Arteta come out after games very often and go, yeah, the passion's there. When they've played badly and they've scraped a result, they probably do, but it's not what they want to build upon. But that's what Ten Hag's having to do at the moment. And the big question's going to be, can he transition from passion to good football? He said in relation to the strikers and Højlund, it's developing between the relationship between Rasmus and the other attackers, as you can see, and you can also see that they are creating chances. It's a question of time. They will find the net in the Premier League too. If you score in the Champions League, you will score in the Premier League, and it's only a matter of time. I agree with him on that. He said on the injuries, last year we played the most games in all of Europe. I agree. Last year was a weird year with the World Cup in the middle of the season. Every manager is complaining about the calendar. Yesterday, I heard the statements of Thomas Tuchel. This is the case with all the managers, but they continue to add matches to the calendar. Next year, they're going to add 2 more matches. I think we have already reached the limits that the players can handle. What we can now see in the first 12 Premier League games is that the standards and the physical standards are even higher compared to last year, so you must prepare well. Well, look, this is... I saw a Newcastle fan yesterday say, imagine what we could do if we could put our best side out. Same for Chelsea, same for Brighton, same for a lot of teams at the moment. The demands of the modern game is incredible, and the quality of football is diluted because how many times will we even get close to putting our best team out? Will we ever get to do it again? I think we're always going to pick up injuries, aren't we? He says all the top players and teams know that you have to suffer sacrifice. If you want to prepare for matches, you have to reach certain physical levels. If you want to reach these standards are not set by us, but by the adversary. I think what he's talking about there is the criticism around his coaching and whether there is a direct correlation between the injuries that we're picking up and the training that Ten Hag is doing. Remember, we've heard about players being tired, not liking the training at Manchester United, and I think that that's a fair point, but on the other hand, I think that you've got to look at it in a very, very fair way and say that he's right. I think the Premier League is so intense. When you play teams like Wolves and they come to Old Trafford and play you off the park, and when you play Everton today, they're going to be very energetic. These players who want a lighter load in... I mean, look, I'm no sports scientist, but bottom line, these players, if they are moaning about the intensity of training and the fact that it's causing injuries, I'm with Ten Hag. What do they want us to do? Have more days off, lower the intensity in training, and then you turn up to Goodison Park and they absolutely annihilate you for fitness. What Ten Hag is basically saying is, the Premier League is very intense. If we want to compete, we have to train hard. And if we train hard and pick up injuries, that's just going to happen. And I don't think people get their head around that. We're picking up more muscle injuries because of the way we train. But we're having to train like this because of the demands of the Premier League. It's a double-edged sword. I think these people who criticise the intensity of training have got no idea what it is like to be involved in a high-level professional sports team in the Premier League. You can't just take it light. All right, you might get less injuries, but you're going to get beat 3 or 4-0 every week. It is ridiculously intense. And remember, you're playing against teams that don't play midweek football. They're not in Europe. They don't have internationals. The advantage for teams like Everton, Spurs, Brentford, Wolves is huge when the season gets rolling because you're playing Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, and they're playing Sunday, Saturday. They can be more intense, so they train harder, which means if you're Man United or Newcastle, if you've got a Wolves at the weekend after a Champions League game in midweek, you can't take a couple of days off. You've got to try and maintain those fitness levels, or you turn up at the Molyneux and you get absolutely battered and your fans go, you're a disgrace. It is a double-edged sword. This whole we need to have a less intense training is bollocks. This is footballers who don't know anything about sports science. They just feel tired. It's a double-edged sword. The only way around this is what Man City do, and even they're struggling a little bit when you look at their bench yesterday. You need a squad of 20 good players. That's what you need so you can rotate. Sad though, mate. Imagine where we could have been with different owners. We could have the opportunity to test our stuff like this in games like these, like we did before, and offer nurturing, says Daniel. I just think start Mainoo today, 100%. Now, the interesting bit, well, might be interesting. I found this quite interesting, what Ten Hag had to say about Everton ahead of a massive game against Everton at Goodison Park could be seen as inflammatory. I sort of agree with him. He was asked about financial fair play. He said, financial fair play gives you limits. You have to respect the rules of it. You have to build the best team possible within those rules. When you set certain rules of financial fair play, everyone has to comply with them. Otherwise, it's no longer fair. So, look, I think Erik Ten Hag is saying that financial fair play is something that teams need to abide with. And if you don't, then there should be consequences. So, Everton have obviously not complied according to the financial fair play rules. They've got a 10-point deduction and they're in the bottom 3. Now, if I show you the league table and how it looks at the moment, my only concern, I wasn't massively concerned about the I wasn't massively concerned about Everton's point deduction like obviously the crowd are going to be up for it today, but that doesn't necessarily correlate to the players. I think we've all seen times where Man United have had games like Sir Bobby Charlton's. When Sir Bobby Charlton died, we didn't necessarily play great football inspired by the crowd, did we? When we had the Munich anniversary and we wore the traditional kits against Man City beat us. So it doesn't always go hand in hand that a big and emotional event for a football club transpires to be a good performance on the pitch. So I wasn't necessarily thinking that, oh, Everton are going to be really mad on Sunday, that means we're going to lose. I wasn't thinking that at all. I think the results yesterday, it's about the Everton players. It's not about the Everton fans, and it's whether the Everton players can feel and give another 5% because of what's happened to them. I think the results yesterday will bother them more, because if Luton hadn't won, they'd be on 6 points. If Bournemouth hadn't won, they'd be on 9 points, and Everton would be playing today knowing that they're 2 points from safety if Luton hadn't won. With Luton winning yesterday, they're now 5 points from safety. That puts a bit of pressure on Everton, because it's like, right, we're cut adrift a little bit here. I don't think that 10-point deduction sends them down, but if Luton hadn't won yesterday, I think they'd be very relaxed, going, well, even if we don't beat United, we're only 2 points off Luton. Whereas now, they're 5 points from safety, and I think that might inspire their players a little bit to be, we need to win against United more. I mean, look, I might be completely wrong. Maybe they'd beat us anyway, but I do worry a little bit that Luton result yesterday might just fire Everton up a little bit more. But I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we do see Mainoo start, and look, I think it's going to be tight. I've gone with a Man United 1-0 win. I'm only concerned if City do get all their charges on, then they might do Juventus, but hopefully not, says the Master Gamer. Sack Ten Hag and keep most of the players, and they will sack a new one on when the going gets hard, says Runa. And we are shite at the moment, not moving the ball fast enough, players not making runs, no good movement off the ball. We are literally in a hole. The likes of Mainoo needs to come in to add some energy to the midfield. That's from Bulletproof Gaming. And Roy Keane would say you should always play the same with the same amount of effort, etc. Like you hold him back until an anniversary game, says Liquid Laser. And Liverpool and City ahead on points last night. Do you think Man United could draw against City away, says Rudolph? Well, we can't beat Man City at home, mate. We're a long way off. I mean, Arsenal have beaten Man City. Liverpool have got a draw against Man City. Chelsea have got a draw against Man City. We got absolutely trounced by Man City. I think as Manchester United fans, we know where we are. And I don't really believe that we are in a position where we are seriously, based on what we've seen so far, I don't think we're in a position where we're seriously thinking that we are a team that is a contender even for top four. I mean, that's how the league table looks at the moment. We're in 8th place. If we win today, we go back to 6th. But with Newcastle away next week, we do need to win today. We do. I think in relation to the Premier League, we do need to win today. Chelsea are coming up. Our next 3 Premier League games are Everton, Newcastle and Chelsea. And as much as I'd like to win all 3, I can see us losing at least 1. So we need to beat Everton today just to give us a little bit of a push into that, top 6 sort of area. Because if we don't win today, I think Newcastle next Saturday night is going to be really difficult. They've got an extra day rest to us as well. They're away in Paris on Tuesday night. We're away in Turkey on Wednesday night. And then we've got to play them at their place. I think energy levels are going to be on the floor for us against Newcastle, and theirs will be high. So if we lose today and then we lose against Newcastle, then I think we're in a world of pain, really. We're going to be languishing a long way from everybody else. I mean, that Brighton result was very, very good for them yesterday as well, wasn't it? So we've got to win today. I think we will win. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win. I think we will win today. Let me just talk about Mason Greenwood very, very quickly. Look, we don't shirk conversations on this channel. That's not how it works. That's not how it should work. Reality is, you may well have seen it yesterday. It was a fantastic goal by Mason Greenwood, cutting in from that right wing with his left foot and scoring. And I'm sure Erik Ten Hag looks at that in a footballing sense. And look, I don't know Erik Ten Hag's stance on Mason Greenwood. Erik Ten Hag is not your dad. He's not your mate, and he doesn't necessarily have the same morals as you. So he might have, he picks players I wouldn't pick. We're not mates or anything like that. I want him to do well. I really, really do. But maybe he would have Mason Greenwood in his team and maybe wouldn't give a shit about the people who are dead against it. I don't know. But it was a very good goal yesterday for Getafe. And a lot of people were saying, bring Mason Greenwood back. My stance on this is quite clear. I don't want him back at Man United at the moment. I didn't want him back in the summer. That's my opinion. If you want him back, it causes me no sleepless nights. I don't care. This is the world. Some people do bad things. Some people do good things. Some people want things I don't want. It's fine. I can live in that world. It's absolutely fine by me. The question is, would Manchester United look to bring him back? Not till the summer, so it's an irrelevance. Does his performances in Spain enhance his chances of coming back? Well, look, if he keeps scoring good goals, then the question will obviously become more and more prevalent. If he doesn't play well, then it's not really a conversation for Man United to have. So he's got to play well to have any chance of coming back to Manchester United. And then in the summer, they've got to look at it. And look, taking all the emotion out of it, these are the three key principles. 1, does the player want to come back and play for Manchester United? Because he might not. 2, do Manchester United want him to come back and play at Man United? Because they might not. And then 3, if Greenwood and United want him back, the third obstacle is, will there be the same reaction next summer as there was last summer? And I don't know, is the honest answer. So, look, we talk about it because we're grown-ups and we should be able to have a grown-up conversation. Time heals all wounds in some cases, but not all wounds do heal. And therefore, we would have to just wait and see what happens in the summer. I think it's just hype. I mean, if people want him back, shout you want him back. If you don't want him back, shout you don't want him back. But it's an irrelevance in November because the conversation really won't happen until June. And in June, from November to June, there's a hell of a lot of things that can go on. We'll hopefully have a change in the way the club's being run by then. We might even have a change in manager. So to talk about bringing him back or he will come back is ridiculous because there's no point, and 2, it's complete and utter guesswork. And 3, I suppose as well, for those that don't want him back, I would say, do you really think that all the people that were vocal about him not coming back are suddenly going to forget about it because he's been away for a year? I still think there'll be opposition to it. And Man United handled it really badly last summer. I mean, yesterday I think they were tweeting something about domestic abuse and something. So, look, those issues will still be there, but I wouldn't stress yourself about it. The solution has been found until the summer of 2024. And in the summer of 2024, it will probably be back on the agenda again, and then it will have to go to debate again, won't it? And until then, I agree that he should be playing football, and I agreed that he should have left England to do it. And plenty of people have done bad things in football and have been given the chance to rehabilitate, and he is rehabilitating, and he's doing it outside of England, away from Manchester United, and that's fine. And if people want to watch that and enjoy that, that's up to them. And if people want to ignore it and have no interest in it, that's up to them as well. But from a Manchester United point of view, it's an irrelevant conversation until next summer because there's so many moving parts in relation to that, and it will be a debate again then. It was a fantastic goal though, and we saw those goals. I think it was against Leicester before. Rory C says, an extra day's rest, getting the excuses in early. Fact is they have the fight. Our players don't for whatever reason, says Rory C. Thank you. 84% of you would start Kobbie Mainoo today, and 16% of you wouldn't. That's rather interesting. I'm just going to put you in a timeout, Days Gone 2, because I'm really not interested in conversations about whether Greenwood was guilty or not, or what relationship he's in. You know, you're taking it back to the summertime now. We're not talking about that. We're talking about football. We're talking about the debate will be had next summer. You're not the fucking Prime Minister trying to tell people right or wrong. We're not having that conversation. That conversation's gone. We're talking about, is there a chance he could play for Man United again? Yes, but the conversation won't happen till the summer. Couldn't give two shits about what you think about the alleged charges. We need to move on from that. He's playing football in La Liga, rightly or wrongly. I think rightly. He's not playing for Man United, rightly. Next summer, it's going to be up for debate. And if you can't handle that, then, you know, come back in the summer, because that's when it's going to be up for debate. Talking about another player that's probably going to leave Man United. I mean, he could start today. I don't think so. Van der Beek said, last season I was sidelined for months because of my knee injury. It was a terrible loss. I appreciate even more because I have a fabulous job. I'm at a legendary club and I'm still proud to wear the Man United shirt every day. I'm full of energy now. I'm back in great shape and I'm training like a beast. The time has come to make another choice. Yeah, well, look, I think in relation to Donny van der Beek, I mean, look, if Donny van der Beek started today and was man of the match, I think that it's like a new signing. But I've always said, finding it hard to see United win today, says William. I'm going with the United win. I've got a good feeling about today. That's all I'm going to say. I think in relation to Donny van der Beek, if he could be the player we wanted him to be, it would be like a new signing. But even as somebody, and I know some of you are the same, that really backed Donny and really wanted him to do well, I don't see a way back for Donny van der Beek. And I'm not so sure that he sees a way back, and I really don't think that Ten Hag does. Donny van der Beek was made by Ten Hag at Ajax and he can't get in the team. So logically, it just feels like it's time to go. I think when he talks about fitness and beast mode, he's talking about a move next month. Half of our midfield is injured, half of it's not playing well, and he still can't get anywhere near the team. I think that it would be very telling today that we're talking about starting Mainoo over Donny van der Beek, and I would be starting Mainoo over Donny van der Beek because Mainoo's the future, and Donny, if we're being blunt, is the past. So I hope that Donny can find a move, and Man United can move on, because it's been a waste of a talent, and it's been a waste all round. The fans have put a lot of effort into it, and it's not come to fruition. Donny van der Beek's made a bad move. The club made a bad signing. There are of course people to blame here, but there also gets to a point where you've just got to make a decision and move on. And I think it is going to be time to move on. And I wouldn't. I mean, he might be on the bench today. And Ken says I still love Donny. I mean, look, there's nothing I'd like to see more than Donny van der Beek make it at Man United. But I think sometimes there comes a point where you've just got to get real and say, we've got Mason Mount, we've got Bruno Fernandes, we've got Christian Eriksen. We've got Casemiro. We've still got Amrabat for another 6 months. McTominay's obviously still here. You've got Mainoo coming through. There is no logical place for Donny van der Beek. And his best move is to get out on loan. There's talk of Galatasaray, actually. And I think that, Donny hopefully makes a move in January. Do you think Mount could be the next Donny van der Beek, says Jack? Erik Ten Hag still speaks very, 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 very positively about Mason Mount, which he has to do. He spent a lot of money on him. As I said on Friday night, Mason Mount's a flop. Right here, right now, he's a flop. He knows he's a flop. I know he's a flop. Ten Hag knows he's a flop. Everybody knows he's a flop. That doesn't mean he's going to maintain being a flop. I think we still hope that there is a player there. I still think he's a good player. I don't know how he fits in at United. But it does become harder and harder to turn things around after a bad start. It's like a marathon, isn't it? If you have a bad start and fall over, and while you're picking yourself up and dusting yourself down, people are moving away from you. So he's got a lot of ground to catch up, Mason Mount. You can do it in football. There's countless players that have had a bad start to their career and then ended up being club legends. So look, Mason Mount can turn this around. I think the club made a big mistake allowing the number 7 shirt to be given to him. I thought that was massive. I mean, look, I don't even blame Ten Hag, and I don't blame Mason Mount. If you're offered the number 7 shirt, did he demand the number 7 shirt? I don't understand that. But we've made some terrible decisions over the last 10 years with that number 7 shirt, and this is just another one. That number 7 shirt actually fucking means something to people. Whether it's George Best, Brian Robson, Eric Cantona, David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, it means something. And to give it to somebody that the fans aren't even sure why we're buying was just ridiculously naive. And also, let's be fair, it ramped up a massive amount of pressure on him that he just didn't need. You didn't need to do that. Now, maybe he demanded it. I don't know. Maybe Ten Hag demanded it. Maybe the club did it to sell shirts. I don't know what the reason was, but I never would have given him it. Because it's just another added pressure, isn't it? And also, can I just say this? Mason Mount in a Man United number 7 shirt doesn't feel right. I still see him in a Chelsea shirt. That's because he's not played much for Man United. But Mason Mount wearing the Man United number 7, he's a Chelsea lad. He's a Chelsea player. He's a Chelsea youth product. He's a Chelsea player. Wearing our number 7 straight away, I don't agree with it. I don't think it gets spoken about because it probably doesn't matter. But I think it was massively disrespectful to the number 7 shirt. And if that sort of thing bothers you, it might not. But it made no sense to me why we gave him the number 7 shirt. It was just an added pressure. And I think it completely and utterly shows, and I hope this changes under Sir Jim, the people who run the football club have got no concept. I don't think they even support Man United because they don't understand how the fans feel about that shirt. The director of football, the manager, the CEO, someone on the board should have said, hold on a minute, that's not right. We shouldn't be doing that. That's just going to piss the fans off. Why are we doing that? That shirt means something to fans. But, you know, typically we make bad decisions all summer, didn't we? And it's not necessarily Mason Mount's fault. I think it puts more pressure on him. Professor Onion says, pressure on the shirt. What are you talking about, you fruit? I don't think you support Manchester United, do you, mate? I think I'll do you a favour and just remove you from the chat. If you don't understand what the number 7 shirt means to Manchester United, you're the prat, not me. It's an iconic football shirt, and there are certain shirts in football that are iconic, and that shirt is iconic. And pressure in a Man United shirt, what are you talking about, you absolute tool? These players, for the last 10 years, have hidden in a normal Man United shirt. So don't talk to me that there's not pressure in a Man United shirt. We see it week in, week out. The amount of players that absolutely shit themselves and down tools in a normal United shirt, and you're pretending that the number 7 shirt doesn't mean something special to United fans. You're a fucking idiot, mate. You're not a Man United fan. Do one and jog on. Hello, Mark. Who will manage the team today? It's going to be Van der Geek will be managing the team today with Erik ten Hag in the... Of course, in the stands today. I mean, I don't think that will make a massive difference, but the only thing that we need to worry about today is mentality. And the one thing that we have shown in the last few games is mentality. So we might not have shown good football, but we have shown mentality. And I think when you go and play away to Galatasaray and Everton and Newcastle, you've got to show mentality. And I think we will see some mentality today. I don't see United downing tools today. And I also just want to say, Everton can beat us today, but when you see their starting lineup come out at 3:30, it ain't that good. They're not that good. We've got better players. Their fullbacks are really gettable as well. So, yeah, Casemiro is not available, Abir. Bring Mason home and give him the number 7, says David. Yep, you're going to be very popular in the chat. And Anana will be in goal today, not be in the red rotten tomatoes. If we smash Everton, Van der Google might get Eric's job, says Tam. We've got to beat Newcastle, Everton and Chelsea, says Bobby. I can't see it. I can't see it. And Tammy says, I used to think Ten Hag was the one, but now I'm not so sure. Hopefully next year, the season, he'll redeem himself. Will Luke Shaw start, says Red Devils advocate? He's got to start. If he's fit, he's got to start. He's a massive... I expect to see a big change in United with Luke Shaw playing. I think he's a big player for Man United. Days says, opinion is fine, but if you don't agree with Mark, you're removed. I seem to recall he came out with a stupid comment and called me an offensive name, mate. Whether you like it or not, that is grounds to remove somebody. And it just brings the conversation down to idiot level, which we try and maintain a level. I have an idiotometer in my head, and you lot make really good comments, but sometimes every now and again you see somebody, it drops it down to the relegation zone. You've got to get them out. Why don't Varane and Erik ten Hag get along, says Emil? Yeah, we're not going there. We can't talk that. And Everton players work for the manager. Ten Hag throws players under the bus, says Brian. I think, look, it's Manchester United. Surely as a Man United fan, you want to win today. I understand the trepidation. I understand the concern. I even understand part of the frustration. But to be going into a game, I think there's this growing thing in football. I saw it with some Arsenal fans yesterday. I've seen it with Man United when we scored against Luton. I get sent these clips or I get sent these tweets, and it's new to me. But there are football fans who support football clubs now that seem to want them to lose. So that when Arsenal got a late winner last night, there are certain Arsenal fans that just spend all their time moaning about Arteta. So that when Arsenal win, they're moaning about the goal because they can't moan about Arteta because Arsenal have won. It's incredible to me. But the same thing happens with Man United. We saw it against Luton. We score that late goal, we scrap a win, and people don't celebrate the goal because they want to get rid of Ten Hag. I mean, look, you don't have to support Ten Hag, but you surely have to support your team. When we got those late winners against Brentford, there were people who were just not happy about it. And I'm like, you've lost your love. I feel sorry for you. You've lost the thing. You've fallen out of love with the thing that you have to love. Look, the football might be crap. You might not like the manager. But Man United winning, if you lose the joy out of that, you're lost. You don't support your team anymore. You should never be in a situation where Man United win and not enjoy it. I can win with United and not like the manager. You know, I didn't like Van Gaal, but I enjoyed his winning at the end. I just wanted him to go. It's a modern phenomenon, and it's not just Manchester United. There are fans out there these days that actually don't want their team to win, so they're proven right about a manager. And I just can't get my head around that. I can't get my head around that. So, look, try and be positive today. We need to win. You might get your way. We might not win. And by then, if we don't win, by all means, pile on. You've got every right. But surely the starting point is let's win this game today. We've got a massive week. This is what we want. We don't want international breaks. We want the football. And we've got 3 massive games in 6 days. And I can't wait. I can't wait. Thanks everyone for watching. We are back on the United stand at 3 o'clock. Countdown to kickoff. 4:30 is the kickoff. Then we've got match reaction, player ratings. Then we've got the fan forum. We're ready to go with that. Can't wait for it. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. And don't forget, I am on That's Football at 2 o'clock watching Spurs against Villa as well, if you want to join me for that. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care.